The future of Sinner is in danger. New statements from the president of the WADA continue to leave open the possibility of a harsh sanction that could keep him away from the courts for up to 2 years. Jannik Sinner will not be able to say goodbye to 2024 peacefully despite being at the top of the ATP ranking. And all because of a new statement that has just been released regarding the positive test for clostebol he gave this season. Specifically, it has been the WADA, one of the world's leading anti-doping organizations, that has made another statement after already appealing to the CAS the decision made by the independent tribunal of the ISHA. Olivier Nigli, the general director of the reporting body, claims that the outcome of the trial does not align with the legal standards for such cases. And he explained this clearly in an interview with AFP. The official decision considered that Sinner was not at fault. Our position is that there is a certain responsibility of the athlete in relation to his team. This will be the legal aspect that will be debated, in front of the CAS. We do not question the fact that the positive test could have been due to contamination, but we believe that the application of the laws does not correspond with this legal case. For now, there is no clear date for the CAS to receive this new trial, so the uncertainty about the future of the Italian could last until well into the 2025 season. What is known is that if the legal path favors Nigli, Sinner could be punished with a suspension of up to 2 years. However, the head of WADA made it clear that their defense is for the benefit of the players themselves. Personally, I think protecting an athlete's reputation should be our top priority. We live in a world where social media are what they are, and with them, someone's reputation can disappear in a very short period of time. Sinner's only regret, and while all of this is happening, the Italian tennis player remains calm, with his feet on the ground, and even being self-critical about his season, as reflected in an interview he gave a few days ago to Corriere della Sera. We did some tests to understand what kind of preparation to do, what strategies to use. There are many sacrifices behind this. I'm only 23, and I've only had this season at the top. The goal is not just to win for 3 years, but to stay active when I'm 30. This season has been incredible, but everything can change. And despite all the doping controversy, the only thing Sinner regrets is the following. If I look back, Wimbledon is the tournament I regret the most. He lost in the quarterfinals. I had played very well until the match with Medvedev. That's how it was. Our sport is unpredictable. Next year we'll see, nobody knows the future. Nick Kyrgios sparked controversy with his comments about Jannik Sinner. Let all the spectators turn against him. The Australian spoke about the possibility of facing the world number 1 at the 2025 Australian Open. Nick Kyrgios referred to the doping positive of the Italian Jannik Sinner and sparked controversy with his comments about the world number 1. All the respect would disappear. In an interview for the podcast Nothing Major, Kyrgios talked about the possibility of facing Sinner at the 2025 Australian Open and was blunt. I would make all the spectators turn against him. I would make it an absolute uproar. He added, all respect would disappear, and I would do anything to win. Kyrgios was one of the most critical of Sinner, who tested positive for clostebol in an anti-doping test and escaped suspension. Once you've been caught, you can't act like you're the victim. Despite his plan to defeat him, Kyrgios will not have it easy, as Sinner comes off a near-perfect 2024 season, in which he won his first 2 Grand Slam titles, the Australian Open and the US Open, reached world number 1, and conquered the ATP Finals, the season-ending tournament that gathers the top 8 players of the year. Kyrgios, who has been away from the circuit in 2023 and 2024 due to knee and wrist problems, which required surgery while he was going through the best moment of his career. The last year Kyrgios was able to compete without major physical problems was 2022, when he won the ATP 500 in Washington, reached the final at Wimbledon, and the quarterfinals at the US Open, becoming a real problem for the top players in the world. Kyrgios is known on the ATP circuit for comments like these, even against legends like the Spanish Rafael Nadal and Serbian Novak Djokovic, with whom he has gradually improved his relationship. The 29-year-old Australian plans to return for the first Grand Slam of the season in his home country, where he will wait for an invitation, wild card, or enter through a protected ranking. The president of the Italian Tennis Federation praises the best of Jannik Sinner, mental strength and work ethic. Angelo Bonaghi, president of the Italian Tennis Federation, praised world number 1 Jannik Sinner, who has had a sensational year individually and internationally, winning 2 Grand Slams and securing the Davis Cup double championship. In a candid interview, Bonaghi admitted that he initially noticed some weaknesses in Sinner's game, but was pleasantly surprised by the results of his training. The Italian recognized that although Carlos Alcaraz had been dominating the spotlight for years, he had faith in Sinner's potential to become the future world number 1. The head of Italian tennis compared Sinner to Venus Williams. The president of the Italian Tennis Federation recalled his first meeting with Jannik Sinner back in 2019, after Sinner became the first Italian to win the title by defeating Alex de Minaur in the final. I went to congratulate him. I was impressed by his manners and simplicity, said Banaghi. On the court, you could already see his enormous potential. From a technical standpoint, he was at the highest level. But he still had to correct some physical deficiencies. He was a bit immature, he added. He reminded me a bit of Venus Williams, an incredible potential, but some athletic difficulties covering the court. Then, Sinner's tenacity and determination turned him into a complete player, with no weaknesses. At this moment, he moves like a rocket, he's improved his serve, and he knows how to be decisive in the set. When asked if he already saw Sinner as a future world number one, Banaghi mentioned how Carlos Alcaraz was the center of attention in those years. It was the time when Alcaraz had exploded, and everyone was obsessed with the Spaniard. Spectacular, solid, very fast, brave, commented the president of the Italian Tennis Federation. But to those who said we might never have a player like that in Italy, I responded, Sinner for life. Let's give him time, and we'll talk again about it. Even when everyone criticized him for deciding not to play the Davis Cup, I defended him with all my might. Let him train in peace, and the results will come. Sinner has something special. Speaking about Sinner's main qualities, Banaghi said, mental strength, work ethic, sense of duty, and sacrifice. The obsession with improving. In this sense, he is not very Italian. And his professionalism made the difference.